as the person who edits the shows, I could probably list every single episode off the top of my head because I know what they are, what year they were shot, what date they were shot. So, but there were so many moments I can't take back. There was a time where Walmack said to Greg, "How do you respect a baseball player for sitting there chewing sunflower seeds all day?" You know, and then he goes, "What if in basketball you had a designated free throw shooter? You know, and you call him in and you free throw shooter." And Greg is sitting there. I know Greg's gonna react to that. That was classic.
Hold on. So what if we had in basketball? What if my only job in basketball was designated free throw shooter? Every time.
They probably should have one. Have you seen Joey Dorsey? He shoots 21%. They should be somebody that shoots for him.
But wait, hold on. In basketball, you have to play both sides. So if they said every time Shaq got injured, all right, Derek Fisher come, you could take every free throw Shaq. How would you respect that?
Now, let me ask you a question. But let me ask you. Now, did somebody say 10 years ago? You know what? Let's ask.
The favorite moment. I got a couple favorite moments. I think the first one would be when Greg said, if we put him on a basketball court, he could play his sport better than me. And I just responded, "I will kill you." Or something to that effect, like I will destroy you. I think that was the exact words. I will destroy, because it like hit my nerve that this guy actually thought, you know, I'm a former professional myself, and just for you to think you could step on that stage with me and compete with me was kind of disrespectful. So I think I just responded with, I would destroy you.
I guarantee I could play their sport on their level.
I would destroy you. Don't ever disrespect me like that.
Okay. I can. Did I say? I said I can play on sport.
Okay. Walmack.
What I'm saying is I can compete. I'm not gonna be a scrub. I'm not gonna be a scrub.
Man, you guys saw the segment. It was pure craziness. Till this day, it's still the most ridiculous, ludicrous thing I've ever heard. Man, from a basketball player.
All right, so here's the competition right now. Then you pitch, I hit, and then we go play. And then we go play basketball.
Let's do it.
I guarantee I get more hits off of you than you score against.
Oh
me.
yeah, set it up. Set it up. Set it up.
Money on this.
I guarantee you, I'll take your money. Set it up. That's my representative.
Take your money.
Representative, tell him what's going on. He trying to put, listen, let me let y'all know what's happening. This guy right here, said that he said my man right here, my client. He said my client can't get a hit. I ain't saying that. He said my client can't get a hit. We set it up. We gonna get a hit, and then my man gonna cook it. That's it. Flame broiled. My man gonna cook it. James Harden style.
I'd like to say, Mac, don't duck me this summer. I'm coming for you. I'm gonna embarrass you on the baseball field by any means necessary. And then after I shoot that one jump shot, because you won't touch the baseball, you will then have to make this vlog why baseball is harder than basketball.
Good afternoon and welcome to a Monday edition of Smoke and Mirrors. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. Gentlemen, how are you doing today? How was your weekends?
Weekend was great. You know, we won our game yesterday. Sitting pretty in first place, looking good for a first round bye. Just got to keep it up.
Nice. Deck, what about you, sir?
Hectic, man. It was a lot. We had 2 games this weekend. Pitched in both of them through 3 innings one day, 7 the next. I'm sore in places I didn't even know I had muscles. And I think that's a Tyler Glasnow quote after they took away the sticky substances. It took a comebacker off the knee. Different vibe today. But excited to talk some sports with the exception of the Yankees weekend.
We're going to get into that. Don't worry. I mean, I think we need to talk about it. I think we need a therapy session for Yankee fans. It's really what it is. But before we get to baseball, I do want to introduce a guest of ours. It's his second time back. I didn't know he was coming on until about 2 minutes ago. So everyone, please welcome Ziggy D. Gregory with his second appearance on Smoke and Mirrors. Gotta get an applause track.
I know, right? We need a soundboard.
Yo.
Yeah, what's going on, Zig?
What's going on, Zig?
What's going on? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can
sir.
hear you.
You're just fine. Thank you for joining us.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yes, sir. So, Greg, you spoke
Yeah.
to me before the show. We had a routine, we had our outline, and you came to me. You said you had some words you wanted to share with the people. I'm assuming that's why Zig's on. So I'm gonna let you, spit your fire, do your thing.
Absolutely. For those of you that don't know, I was on the Clippers Suns game 4 post game with Carl and Jordan, and Carl had mentioned about his no ifs in sports and how I just don't like I don't like what he has to say. Well, one, I don't, nor do I care for it, but he seems to think that he's won because we continuously talk about it. But what I need Carl to understand is just because somebody talks about you doesn't mean you've won. I made that very clear my last opening on Friday with my analogy, and I have brought on my good friend Ziggy to let Carl know that it's not just me and Ray Jarvis that think no ifs in sports is asinine. There's a whole contingent of people out here that see what it is. Carl, you are the creator of the sports hit list. So some people fear going against Carl because for whatever reason, I don't know, they think they might lose airtime. I don't know what it is, but I am not one of those people. And I just want you to know that I'm not the only person. Me and Joel are not the only people that think your notion is ridiculous. So to that, Ziggy, the floor is yours.
Well, let me just, say really quickly, don't try to lump me into the beef that the two of y'all got going on, right?
Smart,
I don't want no
smart. That's what I'm saying,
I don't want no
bro.
part to that. Like that's just between y'all. But I've alluded to that notion many of times before in the past to Carl. Maybe I haven't done it publicly out loud, but you can't say there's no if in sports. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be an if, and if is the basis of majority of our debates. You know what I'm saying? If you look at some of these other groups, there's always an if, or what if Scottie Pippen didn't play with Michael Jordan? What if Kobe played with Shaquille for the rest of his career? There's all types of ifs. So you can have those kind of discussions, and they're a part of sports. That's what makes the debate, the debate in the sport world such a great thing. You know what I'm saying? You can talk about that. You can also have the rules that we have in the sports hit list as well, right? Where there are no ifs, but that's not the majority. That's just a small minority. You know what I'm saying? So again, don't lump me in that beef. I don't want no problems. I don't want no static. But I have to agree with Greg, and I have to agree with Jarvis. And I know that there's plenty of other individuals out there who would also say the same thing.
According to Carl, it's just us three because he's in the comment section getting his Carl Thomas album cover on right now.
I'll throw my name in the ring to be the fourth person here.
Don't do it so sheepishly. If you're gonna jump in.
How about that? I'm just so surprised that our surprise guest Ziggy today was not going to talk about the Clippers Suns 3-1. The Suns 3-1 lead in that series. I thought you were ambushing him. You got the CP3 Wake Forest jersey on, and I was just expecting a little bit more. So I wasn't expecting this whole Carl beef or whatever's going on. So that's interesting. But
well, Greg opened up with the Carl beef, right? But if you want to talk Clippers Suns, well, I already said that the Suns are going to take this series. You know what I'm saying? And Paul George, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I said it before in the previous post game that I had with Andres. I'm saying it again. There are no excuses. How do you get to the end of the game and consistently break these free throws? What are you, Ben Simmons? What's going on here? At least Giannis is making these free throws at certain points. But How is it that when the lights are the biggest, you sit here and you call yourself playoff P, and you were performing in the first round, you were performing in the second round, you got the Clippers to the conference finals. Kudos to you. But reality, the Clippers should be up 3-1. The Clippers really should be up 3-1, and it's really ridiculous that Paul George is out here missing free throws. So with that being said, Phoenix is definitely going to the finals, and I'm hoping they win the championship too. Because one, I can't stand not Devin Booker. I can't stand Trae Young. I feel like they might sneak in there somehow, some way. And I want to see CP3 get his ring so we can see all these CP3 detractors come out and speak out in public, see what they got to say now.
Thank you for your input there. Reynald is in the comments saying ifs are annoying mainly because fans use it to fit their narratives. Almost everything in sports is narrative driven. Ifs are not the only things that fit narratives. So I just want to add that in.
He's a Cowboys fan.
What is that?
Enough said, Cowboys fan.
Doesn't know much. Doesn't know better.
But Ziggy, thank you for coming on and joining the NWO faction.
Oh, no, I definitely will, man. No more school for the summer. I'm gonna be here all day, bro.
Appreciate it, bro.
You. All right.
Catch you later, Zig. Have a good one.
But Carl is in the comments heavy talking about he wants everybody to watch tonight's post game because he has a surprise.
Hype it up, Carl.
I know, right? Little on me got Carl on the ropes.
Well, yeah, no, it's great having Zig, and I will say, as far as that debate goes, if there are ifs or there shouldn't be ifs in sports, it's a ridiculous notion. And Carl, I got you on everything else, boss man, but that's just not the one. It's context. It provides context for particular series, games, World Series, championships, whatever you want to call it. You can look at, especially when there's something pivotal, when we're talking about the Nets and Kyrie going down. That's a big if you have Kyrie, what that series looks like. There are certain players in certain situations that will paint the picture for, a series, or paint the picture for, the championship, playoffs, whatever it might be. And to say that, oh, well, you can't have it is it's not adjacent necessarily to there's no momentum in sports, but it's damn near close.
So, I mean, even we look at, if KD didn't get hurt, the Raptors are quiet probably.
Yeah.
That's how that finals shaped out. And stuff happens in the game. You can acknowledge that, stuff happened and things could have, potentially went out differently.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And that is like, Greg and even Zig said, that you could do that with everything, right? Everything in sports. There's always going to be ifs, and entertaining that narrative is a part of sports and a part of the debate that we continuously have, because it could have gone a different way if this happened. That's not saying that it did happen that way, but acknowledging it is one thing.
Definitely. Carl claims to have a knockout punch.
Right.
Carl, I just want to tell you from now, bringing Coach Womack on, if that's what you think the knockout punch is, go ahead, try me.
I'm actually excited to see if that is it, because you just deflated it. I mean, by bringing it up now, if it is Womack, like, damn, Carl, like, yeah, I hope that's not your counterpunch. Might need a new ace in the hole. But moving on though, I want to cover these Yankees and Declan, the therapy session that I think you need, your other fans need. For those that don't know, for those that aren't Yankee fans that don't really pay attention to what the Yankees are doing, they got swept this weekend by the Red Sox. And, it wasn't something that, anyone could say was hard to believe. The Yankees have been inconsistent, I would say, this season. But what made it hard was they had their stopper on Sunday, Garrett Cole, who was supposed to come in, stop the bleed, and give them at least one win so that they can leave Boston and feel like they got something. Garrett Cole got touched up for 5 earned runs, giving up 3 home runs in the process. Not the pitcher, not the highest paid pitcher in the league that you would expect, or at least the numbers from him. And for that, to that effect, the Red Sox did what they needed to do. Their pitching came through clutch throughout the series. They hit the ball when they needed to. They played good baseball on both sides of the ball. Now, Deck, a few weeks back, I want to say, if not last week, we spoke about, or what trades, right? Like what trade the Yankees should make in order to improve this roster. And Greg put out the notion that Aaron Judge needs to be traded. We both disagreed with that, but I'm here asking you now: do you think that the Yankees need to make a trade now? If so, who on the MLB roster is most likely to be moved?
I mean, I would say right now the guy that provides you the most value, and someone that I, as a Yankee fan, wouldn't be too upset parting ways with, would be Gleyber Torres. So that's who I think you can get the most in return, and you wouldn't have to completely revamp the entire look of your franchise, or decide that you're not a competitor last minute. So I like the idea of moving Gleyber. But as far as this actual team goes, I mean, it was surprising to see them lose, to get swept by the Red Sox after they took 7 of the last 9 games.
No, it wasn't.
No, it is.
No, it wasn't.
wrong, it's almost illegal. But no, it's absolutely surprising when there are 3 games that they were 3 games out of division race with a comparable record to Boston, and here you are going into Fenway and getting swept. And especially like even when Steph said you had the stopper yesterday and Garrett Cole, who was going to get them the win, and they didn't get the win. I mean, you don't expect to be swept when you got Garrett Cole on the mound in one of the 3 games.
I mean, on Friday, Steph kind of alluded to it with the spin rates being back to Pittsburgh levels and him not being the same pitcher. This is something that's going to constantly be at play here until he rights the ship consistently. But for you to say, I noticed a little caveat you added in there that the person you want to trade with the most value and not part with. The most value, I peeped that caveat. The most value you get back is Aaron Judge. And you still, because he's such a high caliber player, you still wouldn't have to blow up the team. But you could get a king's ransom from Aaron Judge and still be in the thick of things.
Right, but Aaron Judge is the guy that this team needs to build. I mean, he's been their most consistent guy.
See, here's the thing.
Best player by a lot. He's played the most games on this team.
It doesn't that is irrelevant because Mike Trout is arguably the best player in baseball for the last 10 years, and his numbers have meant nothing to the Angels. Shohei Ohtani is the best two-way player in baseball we've seen since Babe Ruth. The Angels are in 4th place. One player does not make a baseball team.
Horrible argument.
So
the Yankees have made the playoffs the last 4 years with
Aaron. But what I'm saying is this Yankee team, which I don't know if I shared it in. But this kind of speaks to, were the Yankees more involved in cheating than they were? Because this Yankee team does not, shout out to Ralphie, does not look like the Yankee team that made the playoffs the last few years. They look lost at the plate. They're clueless. They don't play great defense. You know, there's still this all or nothing offense, and that's not going to get it done in this new revamped AL East. So do you have to then say, do we have to look elsewhere and not, because I don't think it's blowing things up if you trade Aaron Judge. Yeah, he's an MVP candidate, but again, you can get a king's ransom back and you can get major league ready ball players for an Aaron Judge, and you could do that with a team that's still in contention. It's not like you have to go to a seller immediately to try to get back major. You could arguably, even though I don't know if he has a no trade clause, you would have to check me on that. But say you could probably get a Castellanos and a Luis Castillo for Aaron Judge.
See, that's not something I would want more for Aaron Judge based on the production that he's shown throughout his tenure in the Yankees uniform.
Nicky Castles and Castillo right now is like he's not the pitcher that we know him to be, but that's
he's better than what the Yankees offer.
That's still a lot of talent, though. I mean, he's your number 2 in rival. He can potentially, when he's at his best, if Garrett Cole doesn't bounce back, he's rivaling Garrett Cole for your ace of the staff.
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Have you seen Luis? Numbers this year?
No. What I just said is Luis Castillo this season has not been well, but we know what he can be and what he has been in the past. And Garrett Cole now is going through a really rough patch, which we don't know if he'll bounce back from, because what he's been producing is not, highest paid pitcher in the MLB stats. And if Spider Tack is a part of that reason, and he cannot, produce in a way without that substance, what are we really talking about here? He's not the pitcher that got the big contract. And that's the reality of it. So I do think that what Greg said has some merit. But what I will say is, let's say it's not Aaron Judge, right? Because you want to hold on to Aaron Judge. Would you move a DJ LeMahieu instead of Judge? Because there's not too much value on this team now if you're not talking about Gleyber Torres. Would you move DJ and not Judge if to get some solid pieces back?
To get solid pieces, I would really look at the farm. The major league guys that I would move is Gleyber Torres.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah, hold on. I have to address something Declan said in the comments about the Sun Devils athletics. And you said what happened last time you saw us. That was a 5-inning game, and it was so poorly umpired, it took 3 hours. Understand something. You guys are not better than us. We have destroyed teams that have beat you. You cannot see us. Make the playoffs first. Then we can talk.
You've been in the championship.
I don't care about what you've done. We are in first place right now. You are not. Come see us.
Hold on.
Last time we played.
Hold on. All right. So that's cute. I like that. I'm on the same team as Greg, so I 100% disagree with you, Deck. But we're not talking about Athletic Sun Devils right now. We're talking about the Yankees.
You're right. I just had to get that off. I'm sorry.
I know.
You're right.
I know.
What to disagree about? What's the comment I made? I said, what happened?
Well, what I'm talking about is your team's not better than ours. It's period. But a 5-inning game out of when we're supposed to play 9 doesn't tell you anything. But like I said, I answered your question. That's what I disagree on. Now continue what I was asking you, answering that question, which is about DJ. You're saying that you want to focus on the farm, yes?
I mean, if we got to get value back in that regard, I think. Listen, they're not trading Aaron Judge.
Who in the farm though? You don't. It's not like your team, like the major league team, is struggling. There aren't many prospects that people would want back. I mean, you're going off of like 2 years ago prospects, what they were doing, but you've brought up some of your guys. They haven't looked good. They've lost prestige. And now the pieces that you potentially want to make a difference might not come through the prospect. So I just think, I mean, because Greg is talking about, Aaron Judge, and I hear you on Aaron Judge, right? Because I agree with you, Dak. I wouldn't want to move Aaron Judge necessarily. That is a really big piece. And the value that you can get back probably doesn't happen mid-season. It's probably like an off-season acquisition that you'd want to do if you move Aaron Judge, right? Depending on if he wins MVP, the value for Aaron Judge goes up the way he's been playing this season. I agree with you, right? So let's say I don't think it's going to happen, but let's say it did happen. The Yankees lose out on that trade. But DJ, who isn't playing as well, but has shown us in the last 3 years that he is the player that a team wants, that he's a difference maker defensively, the versatility he has, the bat with the power and the average. You wouldn't want to part with him as opposed to like
I wouldn't, because first of all, you just signed him. So moving that contract might not be the easiest thing. First of all. Second of all, you just signed him for 6 years. Now you're showing that you have no plan, that you don't know what you're doing. Not a guy I would want to go for. And you know what? Not a lot of guys would want to trade a whole farm for a 32-year-old guy who right now is hitting 270. As great as I think he is and what I think he can be this year, I still think he'll find a way to hit 285, 290. I really do. I think that it's still DJ LeMahieu, and it's only June. I mean, Manny Ramirez used to always say
285. Do you have him 285, 290?
I do. I mean, this is like he's not in Jeff McNeil territory.
Right? I just want to say DJ's contract is not that crazy. It's $90 million over 6 years. That's any team in contention can take that on.
Right, but right now the Yankees are in contention, and I think trading a guy that is a big piece to your franchise, a very reliable guy who, yes, I understand he hasn't been great this year, but he could still get back on the horse. I'm confident that he will. We've seen him do it before. I mean, to say that we're going to move him now, it's almost like, what do you expect to get back at this point for a guy like that? And when he's really going to be your leadoff hitter throughout the postseason, you can get there, you can make some moves. And I'd like to see pitching, but I would trade a guy like Glaber before I would trade DJ. I definitely wouldn't trade Judge, because now you're – and I understand you're saying that, you can not blow up the whole team by trading Judge. Don't trade the cornerstone of your franchise and expect to be in contention.
So here's the thing with that. The cornerstone of your franchise, right, is getting you where? You haven't won. This team is talented enough to win a World Series, and you guys have fallen short virtually every time because of what? Because you lack the necessities to get to a World Series and win it.
Hitting with runners in scoring position. But what it's gotten you to is it's gotten you a postseason berth every year of his career. So let's not act like I understand.
Doesn't mean much if you're not getting to the final dance, right, and doing it there. I think
teams spend 2 years not in the playoffs and then try to get back there.
I think what it sounds like to me is that, from a fan perspective, right, like you don't want to give up something too much to get back what you want, right? Because Glaber really isn't going to get you back what you necessarily want. I mean, realistically, Glaber's home run numbers are down drastically, right? He wasn't the guy to hit for average. He has been poor defensively, and teams know this. Whereas DJ has the better track record right now, but yet you don't want to get rid of DJ, and you rather just get rid of Torres. I think that when it comes to sacrifice, when we're talking about a team that hasn't gotten over the hump, isn't looking like a team that can get over the hump right now, you have to make a sacrifice, and Glaber isn't a sacrifice, right? Like Judge is a sacrifice that I agree might be too much, and DJ is another sacrifice. And so I just think that, like, if we're being realistic about what the Yankees need to do potentially, and I hear you with the contract, but like Greg said, it's nothing that's too serious. I believe that DJ is someone that's more of a middle ground between Judge and Glaber. That's why I mentioned him, because when I look at that roster, there's no one else really that you would you speak to that you can move and get something back worthwhile that can help you immediately. Because the Yankees are looking to win this year, right? I mean, it's not like they're looking to kick the can down the road.
The problem is when Cashman's prospects were at their peak, he was prospect hoarded because they could have had a chance to get DeGrom. They could have had a chance to get, some top front end starters, via midseason. And they said, no, we got Devi, we got Chance Adams, we got Andujar, and we got Glaber. And like that was going to be their
Clint
young
Frazier
core. And Clint Frazier.
We talked about this. You were happy to have a deal that spotlighted Chance Adams in a package.
And I was absolutely happy now that it didn't happen because Chance Adams is nowhere to be found.
Record though, I know that was the media hype, was that DeGrom or Syndergaard, one of them.
Yeah.
We know it was never happening. They're not making that deal. You're not trading fire.
No, the Yankees turned it down. The Mets were looking to move DeGrom. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
They weren't looking to move DeGrom. Brody Van Wagenen, ironically, who was his agent at the time, said either pay him or trade him. And then they wound up paying him.
So they were looking to move him.
They were probably, I think, if anything, testing the waters, right? Like, they're just like, hey, you know what? If we were, let's put, make a scenario where we were to trade DeGrom, what would you offer? I don't think that it was for the Yankees to decline and saying like, oh, we're not going to trade for him, but it's more like, we're not interested. It's probably what it ended up being, and then there's probably speculation around what that package would look like. Because I don't think that, we're talking about whispers and rumors.
I didn't think the Mets were going to trade him, but I thought that if they were going to trade him to anyone at that time, I was seriously worried that he was going to go to Boston, because that would have been a great fit. And they wound up winning the World Series that year anyway.
Yeah.
But with Chris Sale, DeGrom was better at that point. Even still, obviously he is now, not the point. But with Chris Sale at the top of that rotation, that was when Mookie Betts, Benintendi was very good. JD Martinez was hitting the cover off the ball. Still is, but he was even better then. And you even had Bogarts, and I think Devers was like their young prospect. I remember he took Chapman deep on an outside 102-mile-an-hour pitch in the left center field bullpen to tie it up in the ninth that year. So there's tons of stuff like that where I was worried, okay, if DeGrom's going to go anywhere, Boston just makes sense. And he kind of reminded me of like a Red Sox-esque pitcher that would just dominate. But thankfully, he didn't go, so I can live with him being really good on the Mets.
I want to pose another question. Still stay on the Yankees. And this is another shout out to Ralphie, because he did mention this in our chat, and he compared the Yankees to the 76ers in trusting the process, right? And saying that, as far as the Yankees go in Cashman, when it comes to to their prospects, and truly believing that they are the key to their future without moving any of them, like making sacrifices, right? Do you believe that? And I think you do actually, Deck, but when it comes to Cashman, yes, they lost value in some of these prospects. Do you still believe that these guys have a chance to come up into the majors and make an impact? Or are you ready to just sell off on whatever they have right now?
There's not a guy in the farm, and that includes Dominguez. I know he's young. He's got a lot of hype. There's not a guy in the farm that I would see in a trade package for a nice starting pitcher, and I'd be like, oh my God, why did we move him? There's just on this team, there's just not that guy. You're not that guy, pal. That's like the entire Yankees farm system right now.
Yeah.
But there are guys you could package together and potentially get some value. I wouldn't even be opposed to trading Davy Garcia, as well as I think he is.
He doesn't have the value he had 2 years ago.
Not even that. You could still get value from in a package if you.
You're not getting solid major league ready ball players from a Davy Garcia. Not at this point.
You're not looking to get major league ready ball players. You're looking to package farm together to get a starting pitcher that's already proven. Not like they.
That's a major league ball player.
That is a major league ball player.
Ready ball player is a prospect that is.
No. That's wrong.
You're referring to major leaguers who are in the major.
Yes. Yes. If you're saying a proven player, that's a major league player.
Major league established.
Yes.
Yeah. I can see the misunderstanding there. I hear you, Dak. And I guess that goes back to the whole trust the process thing, because 3 years ago, you wouldn't be talking about the Yankee prospects that way. You'd be like, no, if we're going to trade a guy, we're going to get a stud back. And we've seen all of that prestige, again, diminish over the course of a short period of time. Really, you don't expect that too often, putting a lot of stock in the farm, where a lot of teams, it could be a gamble sometimes, but that comes down to your scouting department, right? And what they're doing and what they see in these guys, because the hype was really crazy at one point for the Yankee farm system, and that has since dissipated. So I will put a bow on this though. But
the DFA Chance Adams, and right now the only guy I think that has insane value is Dominguez. And we mentioned this months ago. I didn't want to do it. My opinion has changed. If you want to trade him to get a guy like Scherzer, because Obviously, we see a big starting pitcher and immediately the media attached him to the New York market. I would make that move. I really would. This team needs a guy like Max Scherzer. I'll even take a little bit of a lesser pitcher. But in that case, you probably won't move Dominguez for like a Luis Castillo type of guy. Obviously, you wouldn't move Dominguez, but what are you going to move?
Yeah. And I don't even know if Dominguez can be a part of. I mean, he could be a part of, but not headlining maybe a trade for Max Scherzer at this point. But I do want to move on to a team that has been winning and doing a really good job at it. And that's the Giants. They are the first team to reach 50 wins on the NL West. Gaussman, you have Steve Scalafani, both at 8 wins, and then Johnny Cueto and Alex Wood at 6 wins. Pretty impressive. When you talk about.
I think we talked about this on Friday, but Gabe Kapler is done. I mean, they ran him out of the so fast, and now I know he's really managing his ass off out in San Francisco. So it's nice to see.
Definitely is. I mean, they swept the Cubs. And now
big time sweep. That's a big sweep.
Time. I mean, first place team, right in the Central. Mm-hmm. Now they're going against the Dodgers today and tomorrow in a 2-game series, which should be interesting. Because we're talking about number 2 in the West. The Dodgers are a team that has been winning. And I'm excited to see that matchup. I don't like. On Friday, Deck, you said, I don't think the Giants are going to win the division, but seeing matchups like this are really great because now they're jostling because you have the Giants who are 3.5 games up in first place and the Dodgers right behind them. So this is a big game, a big series for the Dodgers to try and establish themselves and get that dominance.
Yeah. So shout out to Alberto in the comments. He said Tauchman is the difference maker. Shout out to Cashman. But
I can't say that I'm heartbroken over the Tauchman thing, but also looking at the comments. Excuse me. Our boy Justin, who he walks up to Cardi B, right?
No, that's not him.
That's not him.
No, that's not him. It doesn't matter.
All right, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we got a guy in the comment section, Justin Ruiz, saying, I just got on. He said, trade Dominguez for Castillo. Don't remember saying that.
You mentioned it. You made mention of it.
You're not going to trade.
Yes, he did say that.
Okay.
You're not going to trade Dominguez for Castillo.
Got you. All right, cool.
Misheard him.
Thanks.
But what I was gonna say about the Giants, I told you yesterday, Steph, this division is a dogfight, and it's gonna come down to the final day of the season, and I am super excited to watch it all summer play out. And I think there's gonna be several different lead changes within the division.
Yep.
I don't think a 2-game set is gonna be very telling. But
No.
I can't wait to see the 3 and 4 game sets between these guys in September, because that's really what it's going to come down to. But I'm going to say right here, right now, I got the Padres winning that division. Still sticking with them because they have the biggest difference maker out of all 3 teams.
That's fair. I mean, right now, Tatis is definitely that biggest difference maker. I'm going to have to give – I like the whole – I know. Look at you, Steph.
We've come a long way. Come a very long way.
I was never a Tatis hater. I just made a prediction. And
no, you see, but the problem with that is your prediction was bad and you kept doubling and tripling down on it even after he performed well.
No, that was really it. That was really it. And you can you never live it down. I'm glad that you reverse course and that we're on the same page now, but it's still it's funny.
It happens to the best of us.
It does. It does.
Anyway, I'm going to go stick with the Dodgers and Trevor Bauer's sticky stuff, and I'm going to go with them for the postseason. I like their core. I'd like to see Bellinger and Betts get a little bit better. I'm surprised that they're not as good. As good as they should be, really. And the whole Justin Turner, Corey Seager combo. I mean, this is a team that has a lot of potential. Obviously, they have a lot of firepower. No one needs to talk about it. I mean, really. I mean, they got Walker Buehler, Trevor Bauer, Kershaw, all these guys are really, it's still a gauntlet. I really feel like the Dodgers are that good. So I'd like to see them win not that I really like to see them, but I'd like to think that they should win the NL West. That was my prediction. And I'm sticking with it. But yeah, I think we can all consensus is definitely the Giants are the biggest surprise in baseball right now. I mean, who the hell, could you imagine making a bet? The Giants are going to be the first team to get to 50 wins. I mean,
no, I also didn't think the Yankees were going to swept by the Red Sox twice before July 4th.
You just said it wasn't. You said it wasn't.
Well, based off their last matchup, but if we're talking prior to the season, we had the Red Sox in like 4th or 5th place.
Yeah.
And John Means and Matt Harvey.
Yep. Well, that did happen. I want to say the Dodgers are still without Corey Seager. I don't know if there's a ETA yet on when he's coming back, but another big bat that they can use, that they need. But yes, I agree. Giants are really biggest surprise, not winning the NL West, but exciting to see them play. And, this dark horse team leading the NL West. And I do want to move on to basketball. We kind of started.
Wait. Before
you got something?
Yes, I have something. Before we move on to basketball, I just want to touch on the College World Series that starts tonight. Big time matchups. We got Vandy versus Miss State Bulldogs, and arguably Vandy has gotten really lucky this College World Series. They haven't played the best baseball. Kumar Rocker didn't have a great start. They ended up winning on a walk-off hit in the 12th inning against NC State. And then they lost 1-0 to NC State. And then NC State caught COVID and had to forfeit their elimination game. So Vandy walked on without even playing the game to the championship round. And Miss State has been on fire. Their ace, Will Bednar, struck out 15 in his start. We probably won't see him game one because Bednar pitched in both games against Texas. And he had 15 Ks. He pitched in 2 games in 3 days, so we won't see him. But I would look for either Bednar or Kumar Rocker championship game 3 matchup, which would be really good for those of you that are interested. And the closer on Mississippi State is again gives me Houston Street vibes. He gives you 3 and 4 inning saves sometimes, and he's only a sophomore. His name escapes me at the moment, and it's really bothering me because I had this all queued up, and my daughter made me lose my paper. But I will make mention. I'll if anybody wants to watch tonight, I will start a College World Series championship thread tonight. If you want to watch basketball, you can do that. But I will also start a college baseball World Series thread because last time I did that, it seemed to gain some traction.
I was at a bar and the College World Series was on, and I watched for a little bit. I sent you a picture of it.
A couple weeks ago, so was I. I was like, damn it, this Polius guy is really what is this? Next to Marcus Stroman, I walk in the bar, I see Marcus Stroman dancing off the mound, and then I see like Arkansas playing, and I'm just like,
yeah, when they got upset.
How did we get here? Yeah, I think it was against Notre Dame. Did they win?
Oh yeah, no, they beat them. They got upset by NC State, I believe.
Yes, I think
I do want to shout out someone in the comments. Anthony Diaz. He brought up he asked the question, who's the next pitcher to get caught with substance on them? And I did forget to mention that Hector Santiago did get caught, the first pitcher to get caught with a substance. They were not sure what the substance was, so they bagged it up, sent it out to get investigated for forensic to check out. But Hector Santiago now is going to be suspended 10 games. So that is your first suspension. And who's next? I mean, honestly, at this point, it's really hard to predict, right? Because every pitcher in the sport pretty much was using substances up to this point.
Some sort of it.
Some sort. But, everything that will, under the sun that they could use to gain, that extra grip they were using. And so now I don't think that there's not a name that I can think of off the top of my head, but we're going to see a lot more of this for sure.
If Trevor Bauer gets caught, it's going to be a spectacle because he's not going to hold back from words.
I mean, it's just whatever. But I think, how stupid can you be? To get caught now. I mean, they're checking relievers before they get to the mound.
But here's the thing, though. It's not even consistent. The guys are giving up home runs and giving up 4 or 5 runs in an inning and they're getting checked. That doesn't make sense. The whole point is to pitch better.
Yeah, that's fair. I have seen, after the starting pitchers get checked after the first inning. I mean, it's consistent in that it's consistently ridiculous. I mean, we're just going to call it like it is. But I mean, how stupid can you be to go out there with just knock something over? That's how upset I am. How stupid can you be to know you're going to get checked and still go out with stuff? It's just mind-boggling.
Because again, it was changed mid-season. So you're asking these pitchers to change their entire routine. Pitchers are creatures of habit, and to especially at that level when you're used to using something and you tell them to just go cold turkey, it's a little tough.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I disagree that what the MLB is doing. I think it's so stupid that they decided to do it 80 games into the year. I mean, it's beyond foolish and it shows. But I mean, let's realize that we're going to get suspended or ejected because we're going to go out with sticky stuff on our hands. I mean, are pitchers that stubborn?
I mean, is it just stubborn, or is it also every time they go out there to play, you're playing for a contract, right? Like you're showing people what you can do, and that's your livelihood, right? And we have to remember when you're not the the star player, or the one of the top in your craft, you need that. You need this money. Like every time you go out there, people are evaluating how good you are. So if that substance is what you use, and you maybe can't produce the same way without it, you're gonna risk it for the biscuit. You're gonna hope that, you know what, maybe I get away with it this time, And as a relief pitcher, you're gonna have more appearances. So you're going out there hoping that, man, I'm gonna figure out a way. Maybe if I put it, use a little bit less, or if I put it in this area, if they won't catch it. So I think what we're going to see are people that are going to try and game the system, see if they can get away with things. And the more that get caught, it will dissuade others from trying. But it's still a livelihood, right? Like you're of changing up things midstream like this is not going to deter everyone for that reason.
And I know, and I agree. It's stupid that they're doing this now, mid-season. I mean, at least give pitchers an off season and prepare.
Yeah. Yeah, Glasnow said it best. I mean,
shout out to Garrison in the comments. Major League Baseball is absolutely dropping the ball with this whole thing. I mean, if first of all they handled cheating poorly, and it's just about every aspect of cheating that we've seen, from the steroid era to the Astros thing, and now to this. And it's annoying at this point. And it is definitely.
We have a visitor.
We have you have another special guest.
Surprise guest.
Say hi.
Hey, Kaylee, how you doing? Was that a kiss? She looks very entertained by this. Well, Kaylee, now that you're with us, we can change gears into playoff basketball. Yeah, I see that smile. You're excited. All right. So Zig was on here talking about the Clippers Suns, and I don't want to cover it too much because we still want to talk about the Bucks and the Hawks. But if I feel like I have to, to ask the question though, do you think there's a percentage, a chance that the Clippers pull off the upset in 7 and come back in this series? Deck.
No, it's not happening. No way. I'm the same bandwagon Greg's about to get on in about 30 seconds from now. The Suns are locked in. Actually, you know what? Check that. They're not even playing their best basketball, and they're getting past the Clippers. So I'd like to see this full-strength Suns team go into the finals and make some noise. The Bucks or Trae Young, or notice how I call it Trae Young and not the Hawks.
That's true.
The Bucks or the Hawks. I mean, it's exciting to see. It's going to be a very odd and uncharacteristically small market.
That's not entirely accurate. Phoenix isn't exactly a small market. It just seems that way, but they're not. But if you go by statistics and population wise, they're not. I mean, obviously nowhere's New York or LA or Miami, but they're not a small market.
But I feel like
Milwaukee's the only real small market here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Atlanta's not a small market.
No, they're not.
Very big. But Phoenix, I feel like you can shoot, 6 for 20, and no one's gonna care that much in a regular season game. I understand it's postseason, but I'm not looking at the Diamondbacks and thinking, oh, they run Arizona, they run Phoenix. I think it's even the Cardinals.
I hear that.
It's not as pressure. And you're right. It's not New York, Miami, Florida, or even Boston. It's just not so pressure oriented. Like this team needs to succeed, but they also have been bad. So we haven't really seen them in a while, at least since the Charles Barkley days, where they were, having to live up to these high expectations. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I see you. Are you feeling yourself, Kaylee? I see you checking yourself out. Greg, I want to know from you. What do you think? Any chance at all that these Clippers come back in the series?
I said Suns in 5, and I'm gonna stick with it. All right, the Valley's taking us home. Right, Kaylee? High five. Yeah.
Damn, Kaylee's also bought in. I will say to what you mentioned, that last game wasn't great, right? There was just poor shooting on both sides, 84-80.
Jordan said it was good though.
so as you talk about the shooting, Clippers were 0 for 12 on go ahead baskets to take the lead. Plus Paul George's missed free throws. Shout out to Andres and his fatigue. But you can't win like that. You're not gonna win like that. And shout out to Ray Jarvis over at the Gray Area. He called him sometime-ish P, and that's probably the most accurate name I've heard.
True. Pedestrian P also.
I'm very upset that he posted that, and then it immediately all the comments went to Paul George haters and not the fact that that was an entirely accurate statement. It's just like, how did you guys get so swayed off of the real comment here to get into all this?
Kaylee is in full agreement.
I was gonna say, just based on this performance from the Suns, if it does not improve, I can see at least in this game 5 that the Clippers can take it. Because when you see poor shooting like that, or like just poor play on both ends, like we're talking about momentum potentially winning it for either team, and whoever builds that up going into the fourth quarter could get the win. So I don't know if I got Suns in 5, Greg, but I'm hoping for you and Kaylee that it happens, because I know she'll be happy now too. But moving on to the Bucks and the Hawks, we saw last night that Middleton took over the fourth quarter. All right, where Giannis, everyone expects him to be the guy, because when we look at superstars, they have to be the ones with the ball in their hands at the end of the game. But Middleton did everything he needed to do, scoring 38 points, 20 of them coming in the fourth quarter, and really an impressive game from the Bucks. Greg, what are your thoughts on the series, and what are you thinking about what Middleton showed and what the Bucks have going for themselves right now?
I thought it was very important for them to go in there and build on what they did in the previous game. I had a 1-1 series, a 1-1 split in Atlanta, so I do see the Hawks coming back and winning this game. I think it's, like I said, it's an even keel series for the most part, but I think experience is going to take over on the Bucks side, as much as I would like to see the Hawks win, because Hawks Suns would be very fun, right, Kaylee?
Nice uniform color waves also with the two sides. That could be interesting.
Also, what was with the Bucks blue uni? What was that about? I wasn't feeling that at all.
New Jersey, or is that their classic?
I don't know what that was.
I wasn't sure what it was.
It was trash.
Yeah, I mean, I always think.
Was it trash? I think it was trash.
It was trash.
I thought it was like.
I didn't think it was trash. It's just you don't expect the Bucks to wear those colors, so it's like, oh, that's not the Bucks.
The blue, like blue, like the blue is like a like.
Kaylee doesn't want you to speak right now, Deck. I think you have to wait your turn. I think she has something to say about these jerseys. That's what I'm hearing.
Rainbow icy and
the firecracker.
Like I think of like the beach when I see uniform. Like, Milwaukee. In Milwaukee, that matches.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We have some technical difficulties. There's a Kaylee present.
I need you to relax.
Needs the mic. But Deck, I agree with you. It's not that bad. Greg, I think you're wilding a bit with the jersey itself. But I will say that you're right. It's the series to me is very even. I don't really have a favorite in this. So one over the other. But I didn't get to check. Do we have more information on Trae Young and the ankle injury? I know we say it slowed him down in the fourth, but
I have a feeling, the one day to rest, he's gonna be good to go. I don't think he's gonna sit. He got that old school mentality.
Yeah, it's definitely not about sitting, but his production on the court now. Because without Trae Young at 100%, it's favoring the Bucks at this point. They need 100% of him to have a chance, and it's in a 2-1 series. You have a Trae Young not performing at his best in game 4. That momentum shift is huge, So I think that's the question I have. Is Trae Young going to be 100% for this game, even with the day of rest?
It's a big thing because he is their. I feel like I don't even want to say he's their entire team. Not to
you can't say that. He's their motor. He's their motor.
I'm getting.
Yeah,
I would say he's their leader. He's their motor. He's their big piece. I mean, obviously, he's the Hawks.
Anthony Diaz says if he were the Hawks, he would sit him out. Future's bright. Don't want to make him become a Grant Hill. That's a little extreme. Yeah, that's a little extreme. Is this a
fan-based?
This is your best chance to win a friggin'
the finals are not going to the finals is not guaranteed.
It isn't. That's really tough. I don't think any Hawks fan would wager their future over this chance at having a finals win. It's too much at stake. Nothing is guaranteed. If you were to see Trae Young sitting in game 4, people be up in arms. It'd be up in arms. The city might burn. There might be sections of the city that are on fire if the Hawks do not play Trae Young.
Yeah. And Lou Williams can't do what Trae Young does in his place. So Garrison saying ATL will lose. This is a very big, different tune he was singing the other day.
He wants them to win. He just commented he wants them to win, but he thinks they're going to lose. I mean, so like, listen, as much as I like Phoenix and as much as I think they're the best team out there right now, in years past, we've seen the Western Conference be really a gauntlet to get through. There's no big team that is like, oh, the Warriors or the Lakers. Like, how are you going to get through these guys? So I think this is the Hawks' best chance to win is this year. I don't think they'll get through the Bucks, but it's not a long shot to say that they will. It's pretty much up in the air to see what they can do. But you got to have Trae Young healthy. I'm fully with you guys on that.
Copy. All on the same page. Always good when everyone on Smoke and Mirrors is. I mean, I don't mind the rivalry sometimes, the back and forth. Like when football season starts again, I'm excited for all the Daniel Jones talk because that's going to be dominating most of what we speak about, and it's really going to be me trying to get the two of you to not talk over each other. But I'm ready for that too. But with football, I do want to mention something that's really cool, and I want to shout out. I want to shout out my boy Alberto in the comments. I know he was there earlier. Hope you're still there because yesterday he told Greg and I about something really amazing that's happening right now called Tight End U. All right, Tight End University, and that's currently being run by Travis Kelce, Greg Olson, and George Kittle. And what they've done is, and I think it was George Kittle who was spearheading the project, and then the other two came on. Kaylee, it's cool. Let me just finish this up, and you'll be good. But
she likes receivers more.
But they put together this camp for tight ends, current tight ends, and incoming ones. Is rookies to teach them the game, right? And what they focused on was how versatile tight ends have to be, what's asked of them, and some of the issues they have with how tight ends are paid, and the fact that the learning curve is very different than others. And I just want to read this quote off from Greg Olson because essentially he says, we have to do the same that $15 million left tackles have to do and run routes against the same guys that $15 million wide receivers have to run routes against. And they're going to pay us $7 million. We already know when it comes to the payouts for tight ends, you have your Travis Kelce, you had your Rob Gronkowski still. And Rob Gronkowski was one of those tight ends early on who was trying to get paid like a wide receiver, saying that he lines up outside more than he does inside, but it didn't happen the way that he wanted it to. And with this camp that they're putting together right now, you are seeing that tight ends that are currently in the league and maybe struggling, and those that are coming in from into the rookie seasons have a better chance learning their craft, because whether you know it or not, the learning curve for a tight end is definitely drastic compared to others. You will see star tight ends in college come into the NFL and not really do much of anything because there's so much asked of them at that position.
Speaking of Eric Ebron earlier in his career.
Yeah.
We can have an Ingram right now. Speaking of
Cole Kmet in Chicago, you have talented guys that show you in college what they can do, because usually it's like, you know what, you're going to score touchdowns for us. Maybe not focusing on the blocking schemes as much, but knowing when they get to the pros, the schemes are going to be more complex and there's going to be more asked of them. They want to stay on the field as much. So, Jack, I'll send it to you. What do you think of Tight End University? And honestly, I think it's here to stay, but what do you think about the longevity of it?
I think it's great, especially when you got three guys who are really some of the greats at the position so far. I know George Kittle has accomplished a little bit less than Kelce and Greg Olson have, but he's an up-and-coming guy who really I see having a Hall of Fame career and going down as one of the best tight ends of all time in the top 10, maybe top 5. The ceiling's high with him, especially if Trey Lance can be the guy out in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But I love it. I think it's great. Tight ends are a position that often gets forgotten. You either get it. It's guys who are too small to be linemen or too big to be receivers. And you kind of think that you can plug in a lot of people there. Shade at Urban Meyer, I guess. But Tight End University is I think it could hopefully, I hope it's like a pioneer type move. It's a power move nonetheless. Yes. I love to see it. I know Greg, I know he's going to echo the same sentiment, but I just think it's great. I think it's great to see guys who mean so much to the game and who were so great at that position, who still are great at that position.
Yes.
Take an aim and really trying to, chase a bag for the younger guys that are going to come up and be tight ends and really, there's a National Tight Ends Day. That's a thing. So, I mean, that's another step.
They deserve a day.
They deserve a week.
I do want to say, Olsen was 100% correct. They're asked to listen to you. Come on. What are you doing here? They're asked to do a lot, and like Steph said, the learning curve is steep. But Olsen and Kittle tackled why Tim Tebow wasn't invited to tight end U. That's something I think we could definitely get into, closer to football season or Tebow mania, if and when he gets cut. But I definitely want to look more. I definitely want to look more into those comments and why they felt he wasn't invited. I'm sure we're all in agreement that he didn't deserve to be invited there. Not over the likes of Kyle Pitts or any other tight end that was drafted this year who plays the position. But I do hope that these guys going forward, that front offices and GMs see that they're asking them to, and even some of these tight ends are asked to be H-backs and sometimes and block for the running backs on top of, blocking a defensive end or outside linebacker and going out and running routes against same said studs.
Agreed. And one thing I forgot to mention that I should mention for context, Kittle wasn't expecting for so many people to come out. He wasn't expecting it to be, this huge event. I think he booked the hotels and I think they capped it at 50. So it wasn't like it was an unlimited number or, slots available and Tim Tebow wasn't invited. There was a finite amount of space, not that much. And it made sense to definitely get all the rookies in there and current tight ends that have played the position already to come in and learn to take advantage of a camp like this. Whereas Tebow transitioning into becoming a tight end would definitely benefit from being a part of this camp, but does not have the priority over, guys that already been doing it. So that is the context there. There was just limited spaces.
Before we end, I do want to say that Chris Herndon,
she doesn't want you to say this.
Chris Herndon was invited to tight end U. I hope it helps him and helps the Jets. But Anthony Diaz, you are in the comments wilding. Please stop giving us Jet fans a bad name. Talking about the Jets are going 12-5. I need you to simmer, sir. Simmer. Let us see what Zach Wilson can do first before we start throwing out these numbers.
100% behind that. I don't.
There's not even a quarterback in that room that's thrown an NFL pass before.
I need us to relax. I like what the front office is doing, especially with the offensive line. They're doing things that they haven't done before in terms of building a team around a young quarterback.
Yes,
at the skill positions. But we don't know how he's going to translate from playing against, Johnson and Wales University as opposed to a legit NFL defense.
Johnson and Wales. Sounds like the fourth company to come out with a vaccine.
I'm not jumping the gun on the Jets at all. Expectations are low. We're building, and
they are better than the Raiders, though. So yes, Mandy, they are better.
Yeah, they are. Just that those numbers. Was it 12-5? You said.
I think you guys would be lucky to get to 5-12. I mean, I think the Raiders could be 5-12. That's a fair.
I mean, the Raiders half their offensive line is still missing.
I mean,
ugly.
First-round offensive line talent,
and also the Raiders are going to be perennial third placers in that division behind Justin Herbert and Pat Mahomes.
I'm not looking at the comments, but I know that Manny's definitely the fingers are working. His fingers are working right now. He's hot. The boy's hot.
I hung out with him the other night, and I don't want to make fun of the Raiders anymore.
But with that,
it is what it is.
With that, we are going to wrap up. Just want to remind you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all Sports Hit List content on YouTube, Facebook, and IG. The handle, I say it every time, say it again, is Sports HL. Again, that's Sports HL. And coming up tonight, we have Off the Top Rope and the Pro Wrestling Crew. Boom. Yeah, and I want to let you know on the Wednesday show, the main show with Boss Man, they have their summer hours right now. So no longer 4 p.m., but it'll be 6 p.m. So you can catch the main show at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Again, B show is on hiatus. She'll be back next month, middle of the month, with Deb. And then we'll be back on Friday at 1 p.m., which y'all already know because y'all look forward to us. You set your reminders on your phone. I gotta get Smoke and Mirrors at 1 p.m. lunch break, boop. But with that, I want to say thank you. Hope you enjoyed.
Blow kisses to the audience.
Oh, yes, please. Oh, she was really our zig. No disrespect to you, but Kaylee really brought in the numbers. So
you up the intensity of this.
But yes, take care. Have a great weekend. Again, I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. This is Smoke and Mirrors, and we'll see you on Friday. Take care.